Ladies and gentlemen, get in here. Church is happening Sunday morning. Almost done with Aileen Wuornos. We haven't got very long left. I don't know if we'll get through today, but we're going to see. We're in the penalty phase currently. They have found her guilty. And we're going to move forward here. Thanks everyone for coming in. Hit the like, share it out. Let's rock.
I get my hair out of my face while I'm doing this.
I know I was raped. You weren't nothing but a bunch of stuff.
Therefore, these proceedings are now
Putting somebody who was raped.
Let's rock.
There it is. What's up, everybody? Welcome in here. Murder Church on the on a Sunday, per the usual. Where we at right now? Sunday morning, baby. Trying to get the chat in here. See what everybody's doing. Hopefully everybody's okay. Hopefully everybody's warm. My God, this winter has been brutally into January. Just said fuck you, fuck everybody, fuck the United States, fuck the world. Because my God. We got hit. We're getting hit with another winter storm right now. We have not recovered from the last one. I didn't get out till Thursday from ice. Got out Thursday and Friday, and now I can't get out again. I'm going to have to go out there and do even more work. Oh, my God. It's too much. It's too much. There's the chat popping in here. That's what I'm talking about. It's too much. Okay? It's I don't know. I'm not a... Losing my damn mind. Also, I'm going to try to fix this just for a second. Hold on. Trying to fix my green screen filter there. Just a titsy bit. Hold on. Go the other way. There it is. There we go. Boom. We doing it. I think we got on the right thing right here. We're starting out this morning. Detective Lawrence Horzepa, latent print examiner Jeannie Ahern, and corrections officers Susan Hansen testify in Aileen Wuornos' trial. Of course, we are in the penalty phase. And, oh yeah, the bells. That's right, Simmy. Good call. Good call. Good call. Hold on. Let me get those going. Oh, they're not working. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, hold on. I know what I did. Need to open it up. Stream Deck. It's alive! 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 Here we go. Let's try that again. How about this? God dang it. Didn't work either. There they are. I'll do it again. I'll do it again for good measure. Gotta have the bells to start us off. Since we have the bells back in house, my people, welcome to the church house. Got the bells in here. Sleuthy Sweetheart in the house. Semi Sharp in the house. I hope everyone's been marked safe from the film that we watched on Friday night. It was a doozy. It was something for sure. Leia, what's up? What's up? Sounds echoey. Me or the bells? What's up, Pammy? Is my microphone on? Is the mic not working? What? Hello? Hello? The mic isn't working. What the fuck? No, it's working. What are y'all talking about? Hello? Is everyone here? Okay. I think that might be a computer issue there, Leah. I'm not sure. I think everything should sound good. Bassett Page, good morning. Focusing on not burning food or my house. I feel you there. Yeah, last night I think it felt like -10 here. I think that's where we're at right now. We're making it. Texas finally melted, but it's still cold. I know Texas got fucked up also. Pammy, good morning. Oh, one thing that came through, and if I see the beautiful people come through, I'll make sure to say it again. Ayana came through on Feral Friday, and I missed this live, but I had Missy join me, and Jessica for Justice joined me also, and we were watching a movie. But while Missy was on here, Ayana hit me up through the Cash App and sent me $10 and said she wanted Missy to be on the wheel. So if anybody sees Ayana or Missy, let them both know that I'm doing that. And I think that finishes out a wheel that we've been working on for quite some time. Ayana, $10 holla, and we got a brand new wheel. The only way to get on a wheel, of course, is to, if you got to spread any love, sending donations, whether that's through the chat here, through YouTube system, whether that's through Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, or you become a member here and get yourself in the weekly book club. Tuesday we'll be right back here. I did cancel it this week. I was losing my mind. This week was really shitty. Oh my God. I don't even want to talk about it, quite honestly. I'm hoping this week will be a little bit better, and it's not looking like it's going to be, but I'm going to try to get book club in here on Tuesday. The only way to be in book club is to be a member here. So if you're membered up, but we do have a current wheel for some goodies ready to go, thanks to the beautiful Ayana. And again, she wanted Missy to be on the wheel in her place. So we have the beautiful people in the Buzz Nation that do sweet things like that. Oh, all right. I think I'm ready to go. Think we're doing the damn thing. I got a new video today dropping on the wrestling channel at 4:45 Eastern. If you guys will help that video out, I'd be forever grateful. That'd be amazing. And then also tonight at 6, and this stream should throw you into there. I'll be live again on that channel with some wrestling. So, all right, good. Yeah, Leia, maybe restart. Maybe refresh the page? I'm not sure. Catgrow, welcome in here. I got scared there for a second. I was like, oh my God, have I been doing this and nobody can hear me? No one can hear me. That's not what I want. All right, let's do it. Let's see how far we can get through here. We may finish this off this morning. We are very freaking close, but I ain't going to send any promises out just yet. So let's go. Let me do this. Let me do this. Boom, boom.
Please report. Sir, would you again, for the record, state your name?
Lawrence Ozeka.
And Detective Ozeka, just one more time, your occupation.
I'm employed with the Volusia County Sheriff's Department, assigned as an investigator to the major case unit.
All right, sir. You realize you're under oath from the first swearing and have been every time you testify?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. You recall that you had testified before this jury previously of having taken a videotape statement that extended over nearly 3.5 hours of the defendant, Aileen Wuornos.
Yes, sir.
There was some inquiry about whether or not the entire statement was videotaped. Would you tell the jury whether or not it was?
Yes, sir, it was.
Was it anything except for her private conversation with the lawyer that was not on videotape and audio tape? And is part of the exhibit that has been marked as an exhibit with the court?
Everything is covered, yes, sir.
Okay. Did there come a time that when you were talking to her early in the conversation that she gave you some general statements that you could not attribute to Mr. Mowry particularly, but which she attributed virtually to all of the 7 men she killed?
Yes, sir.
Did any of those statements deal with her motive for killing him?
Yes, sir.
All right. Could you tell the jury what she told you with regard to her motive for killing the men, including Mowry?
In tape number 1, when she was talking, she advised that she didn't really know why she killed him, but that when somebody gave her a hassle, she would whip out her gun and give it to him. She said that in her heart she didn't really want to kill him, but she knew that she had to so that she wouldn't leave a witness, because if she did, then she'd get caught.
Objection, Your Honor. May we just have a small conference on this issue?
All right, sir.
And with apologies to the jury and to everyone, I think it's significant. Oh, sorry, Judge.
Well, you want to come here with yourself.
Narrow this down a little bit. Did she give you a statement that you felt applied to Mr. Mowry with regard to her motive for shooting?
Yes, sir.
And what did she say? The answer may be the same.
Yes, sir. The answer would be the same, what I just said. In reference to her motive was that she didn't wish to get caught when somebody hassled her, that she took out the gun and she killed him, and that she wasn't going to leave a witness because if she did, then she would get caught.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You may inquire.
He's going to move pretty quick
No
now.
questions, sir.
All right. You may stand down, sir. We call your next witness.
They would call Jenny Ahern.
How do you spell your last name?
Ahern.
Excuse me, Judge.
You may proceed.
Ms. Ahern, if you recall, you were previously sworn. Counsel with stipulation, is it necessary to requalify the witness?
Stipulate, Your Honor, no need to requalify.
Ms. Ahern, you've previously been qualified as an expert in fingerprint identification.
Fuck the witness.
I'd like to ask you, man, if
Trying to mess with
previous
him.
to this date, you've had an occasion to work with State 7Bs for identification, which purports to be a judgment and sentence of Aileen
I'll be right back.
Carol Wuornos.
I'm going to make a coffee, and I'm going to poke. Good
Yes, sir, I
morning.
did.
And I'm
Can you tell
going
ladies and gentlemen of the
to...
jury what you did in reference to the judgment, and does it contain
blow my nose.
what are known as the rolled fingerprints of the defendant, Aileen Wuornos?
Yes, it does. On page 2 of the judgment and sentence form, there is a set of 10 fingerprints on that page. Those fingerprints were compared by myself with the ink fingerprints that I took of Miss Wuornos, and they were from the same individual.
For the record, could you please identify the individual from the initial rolled prints that you took from the defendant with any individual that is present in this courtroom?
Yes, it's the woman sitting at the front table with the tan colored jacket on.
Identifying Ms. Wuornos.
May the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant, Aileen Carol Wuornos.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the state at this time would offer State 7Bs for identification as state's evidence in this cause.
No objection, Your Honor.
Let the affidavit please mark now.
Thank you, Your Honor. Counsel, a stipulation that publishes to the jury.
Yes, Your Honor, what is called a deadly weapon on the document is a handgun.
Yes, sir.
Please mark Madam Clerk.
Your Honor, to please the court, I understand counsel has no objection to the following exhibit, State 7Cs for identification. Purports to be a, we could call a gold seal related to the lack of the restoration of civil rights of the defendant, Aileen Carol Wuornos, in the state of Florida. We'd offer it as evidence at this time.
No objection, Judge.
Let the affidavit please mark now. That's proper number.
Your Honor, may I publish what has been introduced in evidence as states 127 to the jury by an announcement?
Yes, sir.
To please the court, the defendant has been identified to the judgment and sentence of Aileen Carol Wuornos in case number 81-1498-D for the crime of robbery with a deadly weapon, which was a handgun, a first-degree felony on April 29, 1982, in Volusia County, Florida. Your Honor, with the court's permission, without objection, counsel, may I publish? Also, Your Honor, as of August 6, 1991, from the Office of the Executive Clemency of the State of Florida, Janet Keel certifies that Aileen Carol Wuornos had not had her civil rights restored in any manner in the state of Florida to possess a firearm. May I publish this to the jury?
Yes, sir.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
You may inquire.
Ms. Ahern, you're not aware of the circumstances surrounding that previous offense, are you?
No, sir.
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you, ma'am.
Each witness may be discharged.
She may be discharged, Your Honor. Thank you.
Next man in the department, you are the one who rules the case.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Would you please tell the ladies and gentlemen your full name
Officer Susan Hanson,
and where are you employed, ma'am?
Volusia County Department of Corrections,
In what capacity are you employed there?
a corrections officer,
How long have you been with the Volusia County Corrections Department?
23 months.
Were you on duty on or about January the 18th, 1991?
Yes, I was.
Can you tell me whether or not on that date you came into contact with Aileen Wuornos?
Yes, I did.
Could you describe where you were, where Ms. Wuornos was when that contact was made?
We were in medical segregation.
What was the purpose of you being there at that time?
Just she was on a constant watch at that time, and I'm not sure of the reason, just she was in medical segregation at that time.
Now, did there come a point in time where Ms. Wuornos began a conversation with you?
Yes.
Was that conversation initiated by you in any way?
No, it was not.
During the course of the conversation, was it primarily a one-sided conversation?
Completely.
Did you sit? I'm sorry.
I was instructed not to initiate conversation with her in any way, and I did not.
Can you describe where you were and where she was while this conversation was taking place?
She was in a cell that I was sitting in a chair just like this right next to a glass window that is in front of this cell, and she stood at the cell window the entire time, not more than a glass width away from me.
Can you describe Ms. Wuornos' demeanor during the course of this conversation, and approximately how long did it take place?
Objection relevancy, Your Honor. It doesn't go to any aggravated factor.
You go to that again, sir?
Yes, sir.
Take an order of minutes.
She was very animated, very laughing, joking, talking the whole time, just completely animated the whole time.
During the conversation that you had with Ms. Wuornos, was it a conversation that covered many subjects?
Yes.
I'd like to try to have you, if you can, to relate your discussions you had in regard to Ms. Wuornos' reasons for killing one of her victims, Mr. Richard Mallard.
Objection, Your Honor.
Take an order.
Could you repeat the question?
Okay, I'd like you, I understand that this conversation covered many subjects, is that correct?
Yes, it did.
I'd like to discuss in particular Ms. Wuornos' reasons, if any, that she gave you for killing Richard Mallard.
Well, she did discuss that at times she didn't do this to rob people, but then at one point she stated that after she had killed, she had thought about quitting, but she decided that she had to pay the bills, so she needed to continue to do this.
Objection, Your Honor. Motion for mistrial.
Motion is denied.
Eighth Amendment grounds, Your Honor.
You may proceed, sir.
Did she indicate to you whether or not she had taken items of property, such as a radar detector?
Yes, she did.
Did she indicate to you during the course of this conversation, approximately how long did it take place?
Approximately, I'd say 3 hours, possibly 2 or 3 hours, I don't know.
At any time during the course of that conversation, did she suggest to you that Richard Mallory had attacked her or raped her or done anything to her to provoke an attack?
No, not specifically, no.
Did she indicate to you what efforts she had gone to make sure that Mr. Mallory could not testify against her?
Objection, leading, Your Honor.
Overruled.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
During the course of the conversation about Mr. Mallory, did she indicate whether or not it was her intention to kill that individual when she pulled out her gun?
Objection, relevancy, Your Honor.
Overruled.
At one point, she said, when she said this man fell down, and he said, "I'm going to die, oh my God, I'm dying." And she said, "That's right, motherfucker, so what?" And shot him again, a couple more times.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
May I have the court's indulgence for one moment, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you, Judge. Is it sergeant or deputy?
Officer.
Officer, I'm sorry. Did you prepare a report in conjunction with this incident?
Yes, I did.
Did you bring that report with you today?
Yes, I did.
Can you just pull it out for a moment? When you prepared that report, it was much closer in time to when the conversation with Ms. Wuornos took place, was it not?
Yes.
And that report is dated 1/18/91?
Yes.
And you tried to accurately reflect in that report what you had heard?
Yes.
Do you recall indicating in that report that Ms. Wuornos told you, "Sure, I shot them, but it was self-defense"?
Yes, it states right there.
Do you recall saying in that report that she said to you, "I've been raped 9 times in the last 8 years, and I just got sick of it"?
Yes.
Do you recall indicating in that report that she said to you, "So I got this gun and was carrying it around"?
Yes.
Do you recall her saying in the report, "Shit, if I didn't kill all those guys, I would have been raped a total of 20 times, maybe killed. You never know"?
Yes.
Do you recall indicating in the report that Ms. Wuornos had indicated that she had been with thousands of men?
Yes.
Did you say anything about her demeanor in the report?
I'm sorry?
Did you say anything about her demeanor in the report?
No.
You testified she was animated.
Yes.
Did her mood change during the course of the conversation at some point?
Yes.
She became angry.
Sometimes, yes.
And then would she become animated again?
She was continually animated and moving her hands the whole time, very expressive when she was laughing or when she was angry.
Okay, so she would laugh and be angry during the course of the same conversation,
Yes.
correct? And her mood would change during the course of the same conversation, correct?
Yes.
She'd be up and down in that sense, right?
As in depressed?
Not depressed, but in terms of her mood change. She'd go from one to the other during
Yes.
your same interaction with her.
Yes.
You know why she was in medical segregation?
No, I don't.
Is there a mental health unit at the jail?
It would be there. We have one mental health unit for the men and one for women.
Is that where psychiatric patients are housed?
No.
Where are psychiatric patients housed?
We don't house female psychiatric patients. A true one that's been diagnosed as a psychiatric patient would be taken to ACT.
Before they get diagnosed as a psychiatric patient, while you're still checking them out, where do you put them?
On the unit?
On the unit where Ms. Wuornos was? Right.
No, on the female unit
And where was she?
in medical segregation.
Is there a female unit to medical segregation?
Both men and females go in there if there's a reason for it.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. That's where she was, in medical
Yes.
segregation.
That's the only maximum security area we have for females.
Who's this?
So when you have a female that's facing serious charges...
Susan
would she be
Hansen,
classified
corrections
as a
officer.
maximum security prisoner?
Yes.
And when you have a female who is classified as a
What's up,
maximum
Jessica?
security prison, and you
That was
want
a
to
crazy
check out
movie,
their
right?
mental health, you would put them on the unit where Ms. Wuornos was, right?
No.
Where would you put them?
You would leave them where they are. To check out their mental health, they could stay where they are. I do not know why she was in medical segregation at that time.
You leave them in the cell
Morning,
to
Amber.
check out their mental health?
Until they are diagnosed by the psychiatrist or psychologist.
And then they move on to the medical unit for a while, right?
Sounds good.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Nice. She does good work. That'll be good.
Counsel asked you if Ms. Wuornos claimed it was self-defense when she killed all these guys. I think your answer was yes, it was.
She stated that in my report, she stated when I shot them, it was self-defense.
So every single man, she claimed that every single man that she killed, she did it in self-defense.
This is the statement she made. I don't know if I understand.
You don't know the truth of whether it is, but that's what she said.
That is what she said. But
Is there anywhere in your report where it says that Aileen Wuornos said any of these men raped her?
she did mention rape one time. That she thought he was going to rape her.
Thought he was going to, not that there had ever been a completed rape.
No, no,
Not with any of the men she claimed to have killed in self-defense.
no,
And
correct.
she described man after man to you that she had killed, did she not?
Yes,
She described a missionary.
yes.
Objection, Your Honor, that's leading. No objection to what did she describe?
Did she use the term missionary?
Yes,
She indicated that she thought maybe he might try to rape her, so she killed him.
yes,
And she talked about a guy with 45.
yes, she did.
She indicated that she hadn't seen the 45 until after she killed him.
Yes,
Objection, Your Honor, Williams rule grounds not relevant.
You're up to date.
Request for curative instruction, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
Just regard the last question answered. Anyway.
did she tell you whether or not her girlfriend knew anything about what she was doing?
she told me she did not know about these.
Did she tell you what her attorneys would say if they found out she was talking to you?
Objection, Your Honor.
Whoa.
Judge, there was a question. Did she tell you anything about what her attorneys, how they would feel?
Objection, Your Honor.
Just name.
Did she ask you not to say anything to anyone?
No, no, she never said for me not to tell anyone.
Did she ever ask you if you would have to tell anyone?
Yes, she did.
Did you respond to that?
No, I gave her a non-committal answer. I was instructed not to discuss things with her.
Towards the end of your conversation, did she tell you how it made her feel to kill Miss Richard Mallory?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
She stated that after she killed, she sometimes got upset because she killed so many guys that she, like, I feel guilty, Other times I'm happy. I feel good, like a hero or something, because I've done some good.
Nothing further on this.
You ready, Clark?
Officer, you didn't say anything about any views regarding an attorney in your report, did you?
I'm sorry?
You didn't say anything about any views regarding an attorney in your report.
I don't understand the question.
In your report, you didn't put down anything about talking to Ms. Wuornos about a lawyer.
Me talking to her about a
Yeah, or
will?
her talking to you about a lawyer.
She stated just that her attorney was going to be upset for telling me this.
And she never asked you not to tell anyone what she told you, right?
Yeah, they do. Come on down.
She did not specifically ask me to not to tell anyone.
I hate it when I can hear the song in my head, but I can't vocalize it.
She was saying all this stuff to you that you're testifying about in court today, and she never said, by the way, I don't want you to tell anyone.
No.
told you that her perceptions were that Mallory was going to rape her.
Yes.
And she said that she believed that the other guys were going to rape her.
She didn't specifically mention each person as the reason I killed this person was because he was going to rape me.
On page 1 of your report, you talk about he was just like those 2 ministers who had raped that 14-year-old girl.
Right.
That's not about Mallory, is it?
No.
It's about somebody else. That's what she perceived.
That's what I perceived?
That's what she perceived when she was with these guys, according to what she told us.
Possibly. I don't.
It's a good song, Jessica. Well,
And
it wouldn't be a good song
she
to
was in
do that every day.
Yes.
Oh, that moment, Your Honor? Nothing further, Your Honor.
Officer Hanson, she was in the medical unit because of high security, not for any medical reason.
Objection, Your Honor.
Rephrase
Do you know why she
Objection.
was in the medical unit when you...
Asked and answered, the witness said no, she did not know.
Question, I'll rule.
Did you observe anything about her that indicated to you that she was undergoing any type of medical treatment at that time?
No, she was not.
And that area is used for high security people, is it not?
Objection leading, Your Honor.
Sustained objection.
Do you know what that area is used for when it comes to these female prisoners?
It can be for segregation for security purposes and for medical reasons, but
You're not aware of any medical reason that was being used for Aileen Wuornos?
Objection, Your Honor.
correct.
Thank you, nothing further.
There are high security prisoners in other parts of the jail, right?
Yes,
They're not all put in the medical unit, right?
yes,
And there are people with problems who are put in the medical unit, right?
yes,
And you're not an expert. You would not know one way or the other why somebody is in the medical unit.
right,
You would just know that they are there.
yes.
Nothing further.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Is this witness be released?
Yes, sir.
So he was like, let me get the fuck out of
The
here.
witness may be released. Thank you, ma'am.
Maybe you didn't charge, you are under rule mandated, not discussed.
Elizabeth McMahon, who will be with for, 2 hours and 35 minutes. All right, we're going to start this. We will probably not be watching all of it.
M-C-M-A-H-O-N.
Hang out with her for a bit.
Can you tell us a little
What is
bit
she?
about your education?
What is she? Psychologist, Dr. Elizabeth McMahon. All right. Let's see what she thinks about Aileen.
Background.
Yes, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Florida, a master's degree in psychology from Purdue University, a doctoral degree in psychology from the University of Florida, and a 1.5-year postdoctoral training in the areas of neuropsychology and forensic psychology.
What is neuropsychology?
Neuropsychology is the study of brain behavior. It's how the brain functions as measured by various assessments of behavior.
And doctor, if you could define forensic psychology for us.
It's that area of psychology which overlaps with the law, which applies psychological principles to the legal field.
And as I understand it, you are also a clinical psychologist.
Neuropsychology and forensic psychology are both subspecialties within clinical. My doctoral degree was in the area of clinical with the subspecialties.
And what is clinical psychology? Just
It's a study of behavior, more specifically human behavior, and more specifically the most pathological of human behavior. That is, it treats of those areas which are most deviant from the norm in terms of assessment, diagnosis, and treatment.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in clinical psychology as the broad area with the 2 subspecialties?
First of all, I interned at a mental health outpatient clinic in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I then remained there for a 1.5 years as director of their emergency and commitment unit, doing crisis intervention and commitments under the Baker Act. Following the awarding of my doctoral degree, I returned to the University of Florida for my postdoctoral work. and then remained at the University of Florida for 2 years on the faculty of the Department of Clinical Psychology, teaching, particularly assessment in the graduate program, that is personality assessment in the graduate program, coordinating the outpatient psychiatric unit, psychological unit, I'm sorry, and supervising interns and practicum students. I then went into private practice for 10 years, during which time I taught in the criminal justice program at the University of Florida as an adjunct professor, and at this time hold a courtesy appointment in the Department of Psychiatry, where I'm a guest lecturer in psychiatry at the School of Law and the Department of Clinical Psychology. In 1987, I went to Seattle, remained there for 3 years, working with the State Attorney's Office and as the court evaluator on a psychiatric inpatient involuntary commitment unit. It was a 32-bed unit of severely psychotic individuals who'd been involuntarily committed, and I was the court evaluator for that unit. During that time, I was also adjunct professor teaching assessment to third-year medical students at the College of Naturopathic Medicine in Seattle, John Vestier College, and worked as the neuropsychologist on a year study of HIV-positive individuals in terms of how that might or might not be affecting their cortical functioning. In 1990, I returned to Florida and have returned now to private practice. Most of my practice is in the area of forensics.
Morning, Carrie.
Most of my work is doing diagnostics because that's what I like the most, and I do some adult psychotherapy.
Are you a licensed doctor?
Yes, I am.
Can you tell me a little bit about your license?
I'm licensed in the state of Florida. I was licensed in Washington during the time I was there. Relicensed in the state of Florida at the present time.
Have you published in the area of psychology and/or neuropsychology and/or forensic psychology?
Yes. I have 2 chapters in textbooks dealing with the area of neuropsychology as it applies to the legal arena. I have done fairly extensive research in the area of individuals who receive the death penalty versus life in prison. I have written in that area. It is currently somewhat in litigation in that some defense attorneys in the state of Florida publication of the work feeling that it be on their basis was that it would be used by the state in support of the death penalty, and they would like for it not to be published. It will be published, but it's being delayed. And I have another article coming out now subsequent to the work on with the AIDS project in Seattle in the Journal of Naturopathic Medicine.
Have you been appointed by an expert witness in the courts of the state of Florida?
Yes.
Have you been retained as an expert witness by the defense in criminal proceedings? Have you been retained as an expert witness in civil cases?
Yes.
And you talked a little bit about your experience with the state attorney's office in Seattle. Have you been retained as an expert witness by the prosecution in criminal proceedings?
Yes, I am currently involved in a case with the prosecution in the 8th Judicial Circuit right now.
And have you testified previously before Judge Blum?
Yes, I have.
Your Honor, we would tender Dr. McMahon as an expert in the areas of psychology, clinical psychology, neuropsychology, and forensic psychology.
May I inquire, counsel?
Judge, very briefly, if I may. May I do for you, Judge? Mrs. McMahon, when you say doctor, we're not talking about a medical doctor, are we?
I'm not a physician. I'm a doctor, not a physician.
Okay, you're a doctor much as an individual who has got their PhD in English or philosophy and published a doctorate to get a doctorate. You can't prescribe drugs, can you?
No.
If a patient came to you or a client came to you for some type of treatment, you'd have to send them elsewhere if they needed medication, is that true?
I would make that assessment, and if I felt they needed that evaluation, I would send them elsewhere for that part.
Why is she answering like a politician?
No, I do not.
When you say licensed, you're not licensed as a medical doctor.
No,
You're not licensed to prescribe drugs.
that's correct.
And there is a difference between a psychologist then and a psychiatrist, to the extent that a psychiatrist has a medical degree?
Oh, there are many other differences.
Okay.
You can't prescribe medication, can you? And she just gives the longest answer ever. So yes or no? Okay, you're not a medical doctor. Okay, like
That's only one of many.
great.
Yes,
Now, you indicated that you were currently retained as a state expert, or are you under subpoena as an expert or as a witness?
Yo, Daria,
according to the
morning.
letter, I'm being retained as an expert.
Is that a case involving a death penalty?
Yes.
Prior to this occasion, have you ever testified on behalf of the state of Florida or any state as a state expert on behalf of the death penalty in which you advocated the death penalty was appropriate?
Objection to advocated, Your Honor. That's an improper question to an
That's a
expert.
rephrase your question.
Would I be correct in understanding that this is the first case you have ever been retained in the field of psychology by the state of Florida?
No,
As a prosecuting witness?
no,
You have previously testified and qualified as an expert on behalf of the state?
Asked and answered, Your Honor.
Question again.
An improper voir dire as well, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Yes, Your Honor.
Answer the question again.
your question was I ever retained by the state in a death penalty case?
My question, ma'am, have you ever testified on behalf of the state in a death penalty case?
I believe so.
Which case was that?
I don't even remember the gentleman's name.
That ain't good.
It was a homicide in the 8th Judicial Circuit. I don't remember his name. I don't remember his name. It
Some
was several
fella,
years
some
ago.
murderer.
It was prior to...
Some piece of shit.
I was originally retained by the defense, it was prior to the penalty rule, I was originally
Yeah, I
retained
think
by the
that's what
defense and then
she
called by
probably
the state.
thinks.
to
She's getting
testify.
offended.
You've been primarily a defense expert in your career, is that correct?
No, I am obviously called by
I
the
like to
state.
talk shit.
Called by the, retained by the defense because they're the only ones who can have a confidential expert to do the evaluation. As far as being primarily a witness for them, less than 20% of the cases.
How many times have you been qualified as an expert in the state of Florida in the field of psychology?
I have no idea, hundreds,
Hundreds?
yes.
How about in a death penalty case?
Probably,
Would I be correct in saying no more than 2 times? based
If the
upon what you
witness
told
can
me?
answer the
No.
question.
Just let the lady answer the question.
no. I've been retained, I've been qualified in death penalty cases.
Yeah, he really is working hard to hurt her reputation or
30
her.
times.
It's your testimony that you've been qualified 25 times and testified as an expert in death penalty cases?
Yes.
Status, whatever you want to say.
I think that's, as near as I can remember, that would be right. I'm going on the basis of the published research that I have, and I've done well over 100 and some first-degree homicide cases.
In each of those cases, when you qualified, was that as a defense expert testifying on behalf of the criminal defendant?
All but 2 or 3 at the most.
So out of 25 some odd times, you testified 22 to 23 times as a defense expert.
Objection is a defense expert, Your Honor. It's who calls a witness.
He is really getting in there.
Not necessarily appointed by the court as a confidential expert. Your Honor.
Objection overruled.
And nothing further, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Doctor, how many clients have you seen in your career in a criminal setting?
Hundreds. I don't know. I've been doing this for 17 years. I don't know.
How many times have you been appointed by a court in a criminal setting? Just an estimate.
Yeah, I'd say probably 40% of that time by the court.
Do you have lists and logs of who you've seen through the years and where you've testified through the years and things like that?
No, I admit I probably should sit down and go through the files and be able to answer this more explicitly. I never have, and so I don't.
How many defendants did you evaluate for the prosecution in Seattle?
Objection, Your Honor. Any relevancy of the death penalty?
Objection overruled.
I did very little private work up there. I did one case for the state and one case for the defense,
And
that I
those
was
were-
called in by each.
And those are homicide cases?
Yes, the one for the defense was, state was, the one for the defense was, I think.
Well, see, while this is 2.5 hours, we're going to spend an hour on her education.
Battery, assault and battery, and larceny of an automobile.
You are familiar with what
Are
a
you qualified?
psychiatrist
Are you
does,
really
Are you not? You
qualified?
have worked with psychiatrists in the past, have you not?
Yes.
Can a psychiatrist provide personality testing to an individual?
No.
Can is a psychiatrist qualified to provide neuropsychological testing to an
Your Honor,
individual?
I'm going to object. It's outside the scope of her expertise as to what a psychiatrist is capable of doing.
If she can answer the question, she can. Judge will.
No, they're not trained to do neuropsychological testing.
This lady's
Is a
about to
psychiatrist
throwdown.
like-
This lady is about to say, fuck it, take the gloves off and say, yo, you want to see? You want to see my fucking diplomas? Do you want to talk to my teachers? Do you want to talk to the president of the school I graduated from? What will it take? What will it
license
take?
to provide intelligence
Totally
tests to an
crashes out.
individual?
No.
When a psychiatrist wants to obtain testing to find out what the individual's functioning is from neuropsychological, from personality, from intelligence testing, who did the psychiatrist send that person to?
They have to send them to a clinical psychologist.
And have psychiatrists send patients to you in the past?
Yes.
How often? Put it withdrawn. Is that a common thing?
Yes.
Are psychiatrists trained in medical school as to psychological testing? Are
No.
they trained to administer it?
No.
Your Honor, we would tender Dr. McMahon again as an expert in those areas.
Any further for dire?
No, sir.
He's going to say, you know what? No, I don't think she is an expert. Starts cutting a wrestling promo. You stand up here. Actually, he had to start with, let me tell you something. You stand up here and you say you're an expert in this and you say you're an expert in that. I don't think that's the truth. I think you're lying to these fine folks here from everyday life who have given their precious time to us here in the court system to come in here. And you're going to sit here and you're going to lie and you're going to stretch the truth. You know nothing about psychology. You probably graduated from some shithole school from whatever fucking asshole town. Okay, I'm gonna calm down. I'm getting crazy.
Doctor, do you know Lee Wuornos?
Full wrestling
the person
promo.
Seated to my right.
Yes, I do.
Can you tell us how it is that you know?
I was called by Lee's attorney, Ms. Jenkins, and asked to evaluate her. I met with Ms. Wuornos. I have met with her on 5 different occasions for a total of approximately 22 hours. I met with her on February 26th for 6.5 hours of neuropsychological and personality testing. I met with her on March 8th for 6.5 hours of interview. I met with her on December 23rd, and those are all 1991, for 4 hours of interviewing. I met with her on January 8th for 4 hours of interview, and I met with her on January 19th for 1 hour of interviewing, and a supplemental test.
Did you, during your evaluation of Ms. Wuornos, have the opportunity to review documentation regarding her life?
A great deal,
Would those include depositions in this case?
yes,
Would those include statements of witnesses?
yes,
Would those include schoolwork records regarding Ms. Wuornos?
yes,
Statements from members of her family?
yes,
Statements from individuals who had come in contact with her in the past?
yes.
Prior psychological or psychiatric evaluations?
Yes, both.
Have you had an opportunity to speak to any individuals who had come in contact with Ms. Wuornos in the past?
Yes, 2.
Did you also have the opportunity to review the testing and the notes of other doctors who have seen Ms. Wuornos currently?
Yes, I have.
also have an opportunity to review various police reports regarding this case?
Yes.
And did you have an
Let me
opportunity?
say investigative reports, that's what you mean?
Investigative reports.
Yes.
Are the materials which you reviewed materials upon which an expert would normally rely in formulating an opinion?
Yes.
And you indicated you also tested Ms. Wuornos.
Yes, I did.
Did you provide neuropsychological testing to her?
Yes, I did.
Why did you do that?
Well, there were several reasons. I was aware before I went to see Ms. Wuornos that I had been informed by her attorney that she had some history of alcohol ingestion. That would be one reason. Very early on, when I first went to see Ms. Wuornos, she was telling me that there were things she could not remember, that she felt confused about the incidents. So I would do it for that reason. In any forensic evaluation, one of the things I'm always going to assess, in addition to intellectual functioning, is memory. Just to either rule in or rule out anything the defendant says they can or cannot remember. And that's also part of the assessment in terms of competency to stand trial, to make sure that they can remember adequately, enough to at least cooperate with their attorney. So for all of those reasons, I would have done it. And certainly once I was aware of Ms. Wuornos' life history, I would do a neuropsychological.
Why is that?
Because of her history of alcohol ingestion, because of one or more instances of physical altercations resulting in some sort of head trauma or at least head injury. Once I obtained her school records, looking back on her school records, early testing, I would certainly then want to get current testing on it.
And you indicated, I think, that neuropsychological assessments deals with impairments of the brain and the cortex. Well, you straighten me out. What does it deal with?
It's cortical functioning, and if there's an impairment, most likely it is in the cortex. There can be times when the impairment is subcortical and it's having an effect on the cortex. So we're measuring cortical functioning, but if there's an impairment, it may be at a deeper level but is simply causing the effect at the cortical level.
Did you also provide intelligence testing to Ms. Wuornos?
Yes, I did.
Is intelligence testing something that goes along with the neuropsychological testing?
Yes.
Did you also provide personality testing to Ms. Wuornos?
Yes, I did.
And what is personality testing?
It's an attempt to assess various levels of the personality. Now, that's a very complex phenomena, and there's always the feeling that we don't know everything that there is to know about it, certainly. But we do try and assess at as many levels as we can with as many types of, not really tests, but what are called projective procedures. They're not tests because there's no right or wrong answer. But they're what's called projective procedures, and by that I mean that the stimuli for them are fairly vague, and so however the individual responds, it is coming from within them, because there's very little, it's a very amorphous stimuli, so they can do most anything they want with the stimuli. They're simply asked to respond to it. And with the idea that however they respond, that's what's coming from within them as opposed to what's being determined from the outside.
And you also provided objective personality testing?
Yes.
Did you not? These tests, both the projective and the objective tests, are they empirically based? In other words, when you interpret them, do you have empirical norms that are used to do that?
Yes.
And what is that? Just real briefly describe that for us.
They have been given to hundreds and at this point thousands of people. There are individuals whose sort of work is to keep updating what's called the norms, and that is if we take people who have no diagnostic psychiatric diagnosis, who appear to be the average individual in the street, how would they answer? And then we look at people who are diagnosed, let's say schizophrenic, how would they answer? We look at people who are diagnosed, say, manic depressive, how would they answer? We look at this over various age ranges and over various educational levels. And by that way, we have some idea of the manner in which various groups of people would answer. Any given individual that we assess, then we look at against that sort of a background and say, are they within normal limits? Are they outside normal limits? If they're outside, what does that mean? What do they look like in terms of normative data?
As a result of the testing, your review of records, and your face-to-face examination and evaluation of Ms. Wuornos, were you able to formulate any opinions with regard to her mental health functioning?
Yes.
Were you able to formulate those opinions to a reasonable degree of psychological and neuropsychological certainty?
Yes.
What is Ms. Wuornos' diagnosis?
I would have two. One is that she does evidence a mild degree of cortical dysfunction.
Cortical
By
dysfunction.
that I mean that it is mild. There's no... If you were to meet Ms. Wuornos on the street and carry on a conversation with her, and that was the only problem she was having, you would not recognize it, probably. In other words, it would take some testing to pick it up. It is that mild. It is primarily in the area of language. In other words, it's more left side of the brain than the right. But it is diffuse, and by that we mean it's throughout the brain. It is not something that is a function of what's called a penetrating trauma, or such as a severe head injury. It's not something that is compatible with like a tumor, a stroke, what's called a space-occupying lesion. It is called chronic static, meaning it has been that way for a long time. It will continue to be that way. It doesn't change. It's mild, it is diffuse, but it's more on the left side of the brain. It causes her some problems. It interacts with her with other problems that she has, but that in and of itself is quite mild.
What was the other diagnosis
That was
that
cool. This lady's
goes
smart.
along with the cortical dysfunction?
I would diagnose Ms. Wuornos as what's called a borderline personality disorder. By that I mean an individual who engages in intense and unstable interpersonal relationships, who is very labile in their emotions. By that I mean roller coaster. 1 minute happy, 1 minute sad, 1 minute angry, 1 minute laughing, 1 minute just very rapid.
All over the place.
Change of emotions. Who is impulsive, who has a great deal of trouble with intense anger and not being able to modulate that well, who may engage in self-destructive behavior, either very overtly in terms of suicidal attempts or more subtly in terms of lifestyle.
I don't know why the state, the prosecution was fighting this lady so hard. I mean, she's doing their job for them right now.
Who has an identity disturbance, and by that one may mean either, and in this case either what's called a gender identity disturbance or disturbance in terms of more long-range goals, values, what they want from life, who experiences chronic feelings of emptiness and alienation, and who has a great fear of aloneness and abandonment. These are people who have...
She's just talking about everyone. This is literally just people on the street. Like, this is... We're all
what's called
fucked up.
impaired cognition, right? In terms of the way they both view
I'm
the
just
world and the
making
way their
jokes, but
thought
seriously.
processing operates. They have very intense,
Hines, what's up,
overwhelming
bro?
feelings
What are you
that they have a
doing,
great deal
man?
of trouble modulating. And their
Oh, she's
life
definitely
tends
a danger to
revolve around
society.
the
I
two
do think
primary
that.
themes of victimization and alienation
I don't
or
think
emptiness.
they got Aileen Wuornos wrong, guys.
I can go into more detail, but that's sort of a thumbnail description
It's
of
sad
what
as
is
fuck,
a
but-
borderline personality. They are
I think
people who
she's
are
a crazy bitch.
difficult to deal with because they tend to be somewhat unpredictable, and we frequently have a difficult time dealing with their intense emotional reactions, which are so variable. One of the things about borderlines is that they tend to incite strong feelings in other people who are around them, and they tend to wear out therapists. And on an inpatient unit, you keep the census of borderline personality disorder individuals to no more than 4, or they will turn your unit upside down. So they're difficult people to deal with. They're extremely unhappy people, and they tend to project that unhappiness onto the world.
What are
This lady's. I'd like to. There's probably interviews that you could watch with her, but man,
withdrawn?
so smart.
What can you tell us about Eileen's life and her background that is consistent with this disorder? May be a causative factor that speaks to it.
Oh,
The
nice.
primary theory.
She's interesting, dude. This has always been one that I've wanted to dive into and get into. It was almost season 1. My season 1 was Jeffrey Dahmer, and then every season after that's kind of been, we've either voted or I've done it because of something that was happening in real life that I kind of wanted to play off of. The last, for example, last season, the Adelson stuff. This one I said, fuck it, I want to do it. She's always been super intriguing to me. And she splits the room. This has been one of the only trials that we've done where not everyone, but there's a healthy split of folks who feel horrible for her and think that she was screwed over by the system. And I think that also to a lot of degree, to a variable degree, but at the same time, evidence points that she is out of her mind. Frog, welcome in here. Good morning.
Borderline personality develops are 3. One is that there is some cortical dysfunction. So that the individual has a great deal of trouble assessing and integrating the cognitive, the emotional, the behavioral, the social. They sort of never are able to assess what's going on around them accurately, integrate it, and learn to deal with it. That's one theory. A second theory is that there's very early abandonment. And a third theory is that the family dynamics are such that make for what's called splitting. As I understand Aileen Wuornos' history, looking through all of the immense amount of material and talking to people, she was born after her parents had separated. Her parents had divorced. She never knew until subsequent to her arrest who her father was. The reason being that he was later imprisoned and committed suicide, and the family never wanted to have anything to do with him or to never talk to either of the children about him, either Ms. Wuornos or her brother, and in fact changed the brother's name later because he had the same name as his father. His name was later changed because of that. Her mother, who was very young at the time, in her late teens, abandoned Ms. Wuornos and her brother. In essence, went out to dinner one night and did not return. Calling Ms. Wuornos' grandparents and saying, "You come pick the children up, I'm leaving town." She and her brother were picked up by their grandparents and adopted by them. She did not know she was adopted until somewhere between the ages of 7 and 10. I am going to refer to her adoptive parents as her grandmother and grandfather, because that just makes it easier for me. So she was raised by her grandparents, she and her brother, and assumed that the aunt and uncle were her brother and sister until she was somewhere between 7 and 10 years of age. Her aunt then told her that she was not her sister, but rather her aunt, and she went to her grandmother and asked, and the grandmother said that was true. She was raised in a home with a father figure who drank heavily, who worked all the time but drank, to the point of falling asleep on the floor or the couch, who has been described as a Jekyll and Hyde when he drank. He was very kind, very patient man when he was sober, but very sharp, angry man when he drank. Ms. Wuornos' biological mother has described him as the meanest man in town, that he was verbally abusive to her growing up. Ms. Wuornos' biological mother has also said that...
Without objection, we're going outside the scope of any medical testimony. We're bringing strictly hearsay from an uncalled witness now.
Doctor, as to the information that you're testifying to, is this information that an expert would normally rely upon in formulating an opinion?
Yes.
Please proceed.
Ms. Wuornos describes her grandmother in terms like an angel. She was wonderful. She could do no wrong. She loved flowers and trees and there's the split. There's a good mother, bad father. Split here. Ms. Wuornos' biological mother describes her mother as not being that way at all, but rather as also being verbally abusive. I have no way of knowing which perception is accurate. Maybe both are accurate at different points in time. In any event, certainly her grandfather was ruled the household, and the grandmother was very much subservient to him. This was the home in which she grew up. At the age of 9, she and her sister were playing with a chemical that one of the brothers, either her biological brother or her uncle, had made, which when lighted made sort of little poof sounds and went up in smoke. They were in a shed, and apparently Ms. Wuornos dropped the bottle. It broke, and her sister said, well, there's very little there, go ahead and light it, which she did. Somehow or other, something went wrong, and it exploded in her face, and she had burns over her face and hands. This had quite an effect on her. She was hospitalized for several days and then out of school for several months, and very concerned about scarring and how that would affect her later on. She did well in school early on, but then along junior high school began to have trouble. You can see her grades, see her testing from the 3rd grade, where she tests out with an IQ of 107, go along a few years more, and her grades have dropped to the mid-90s. Her IQ test scores have dropped to the mid-90s. And by the time she's 14 years of age, we see an IQ where she has a dramatic split in IQ between right-sided brain functions and left-sided brain functions. So the split that we see as an adult was evident back at the age of at least 14.
Let me just stop you there. Was there an interplay between her school performance and the family situation?
One would certainly assume that. And the test, the report.
Only an assumption, Judge.
That's no rule.
The psychological report indicates that on the first day, indicates first of all that she tried very hard on the tasks, so we assume that it was a valid and reliable reflection of how she was doing at the time. But that I think the second day that she began to be more comfortable and start talking about difficulties that she was having, that she did not like school, that she was having difficulty interacting with peers, and by this time she was having difficulty interacting with siblings at home. She is characterized at that point, 14 years of age. She's characterized at that point as beginning to not only have difficulty in school. Let me back up a minute. Her school records also reflect from the very beginning that she had difficulty with vision, and she's got 1 ear, I don't remember which ear, the hearing loss, and that she always had to be seated in the front of the room because of the hearing loss, and that her grandmother was asked repeatedly to get her professional help for this, and that she refused to do so, feeling that Ms. Wuornos was simply didn't want to take direction, didn't want to listen, but that there really wasn't anything wrong with her. She has a documented hearing loss and documented vision problems. Okay, at the age of 14, Ms. Wuornos was raped by a gentleman who said that he was a friend of her father's, offered her a ride home in town, said that he had just left a bar and just left her father at the bar, and that he offered her a ride home. Took her into the woods, offered her a beer. According to Ms. Wuornos' story, had a weapon. She agreed with him that if he would just put the weapon away, she would not try and run or anything.
Doctor, let me just stop you for a moment. Is Ms. Wuornos' account regarding that incident confirmed by sources independent of her?
Yes.
And did you have a chance to review those sources?
Yes.
That information? Keep going, I'm sorry.
Can counsel enlighten us as to what sources the doctor is referring to?
We can do that, Judge. They could save it for
I'll
cross,
do it
but,
cross, Judge, that's fine.
but Doctor, give us some of the sources and give us what they said.
There are records when she went to a later school saying that she had been raped earlier. There's also a statement given to an investigator up north by her sister saying that she had been raped at a very early age.
How old was she at the time? About 14 or so?
Ms. Wuornos would say 13 to 14. If I've put everything together, putting all the records together, she would have been just 15 when she delivered the child, so she would have been 14 at the time she was raped. She was 15 February 26th, and she delivered early March, or March 24th.
And this is the child resulting from this incident?
Yes, from this incident, she became pregnant. Did not tell anybody for 6 months because of being afraid of their reaction.
She had a horrible
And
life.
then her father sent her to a home for unwed mothers. She delivered, and the child was placed for adoption. Ms. Wuornos returned to school, finished out that school year according to her records. At some point in that summer, she ran away from home. She will say that her father had been abusive to her, physically abusive at that point, certainly verbally abusive, all the way through their statements of him saying to both Ms. Wuornos and her brother that they never should have been
adopted. Some people don't have a
adopted,
chance, man.
that he wished they could take them out in the backyard and shoot them, hang them from trees.
Born on a-
More trouble than they were worth. This was the constant thing that
Or
she
to
grew
a
up with.
piece of shit, or
She ran
hell,
away from that
wrong
in
patch of land,
the
I
summer
mean.
of 1971. Was gone approximately 2 weeks when she learned of her grandmother's death. Returned for the funeral, and the following day was picked up by the police and sent to a training school. Subsequent to her release from the training school, somewhere within the next 6 to 8 months, she returned home, and 2 weeks later her father told her to leave, and she was on the streets. She then traveled around. She was then 15. She was on the streets on her own, traveled around, returning home maybe once every 2 or 3 months, and that how often she returned home varies in terms of whose account.
Where did she sleep?
In the woods in a tent, in abandoned cars, in any place that she could find, and with some neighbors at one point. People talk about her being around town, in other towns nearby, and around that town, on the streets late at night, and then sleeping wherever she could, and then eventually left the town.
I need a moment.
Sure, needs a moment. It's too much. They didn't sound
Began
upset,
hitchhiking.
though. Oh, no.
Did she ever return to school?
No, never returned to school, so
had to
she
fix her chair?
completed the
That's
9th
weird.
grade, and that's the end of her formal education. This time also was beginning to drink and was into drugs of all types. I believe everything except heroin. And increasing in her ingestion of alcohol. Began hitchhiking around the country from Michigan, which is where she was raised, to Colorado, Florida, back to Colorado, back to Michigan, generally on the move. states that her primary ways of getting income were hustling pool, odd jobs, and prostitution. Ms. Wuornos stated to me that she'd been a prostitute from the ages of 15 to 20, and that that was her prime source of income at that time. And during that time, she got into a number of scrapes with the law.
When she started hitchhiking at 15, did she have any skills?
None.
Do her school records reflect any training that she could go out and use to find employment?
No. And what jobs she did have throughout her life have been things like
Yeah, you're probably right, Bassett.
lawn
That
maintenance,
makes sense.
motels, waitressing, unskilled labor.
At the age of 15, did she have the borderline personality disorder?
My hesitancy is because, yes, though we don't like to label teenagers with that kind of a label.
Why is that?
That tends to be a heavy-duty label, and we tend not to want to do that to children or adolescents in the hopes that sort of maybe something will change and they'll grow out of it. So frequently at that age, one would see adjustment reaction of adolescence with mixed features or some sort of diagnosis like that. We try very hard not to put adult-type labels on children and adolescents. So did she have it? Yes, she had it, but would she have been diagnosed at 15? Probably not with that label.
Did she have the cortical dysfunction at age 15?
Yes, that's definitely obvious in her school records and testing.
You indicated her school records prior to 15 showed a verbal performance IQ split that is consistent with current testing.
It's even more severe than most of the, well, it's very compatible with one of the recent testing, and it's a little bit worse than the split that I got. By the same token, it's all in the same ballpark. We've got a split that's beyond anything that's within normal range. So.
What's the significance of that, the split between her verbal IQ and her performance IQ? What does that tell a clinician?
A split of that magnitude in either direction tells us that the brain is not working in concert. One of the things that is necessary for us to function in the world well is for our brain to work in unison. It must work in concert. It must work as a whole. It's sort of like an orchestra. It either all the parts are in unison or they're not. And if you're going to be able to have a smooth melodic effect, then it all has to be working together. And if it isn't, you get sort of, you get noise. So what that says is that our brain is not working in concert. Most especially what that says, since the split is with the verbal side so low, is that the area of brain that subserves language is the area that is not working up to par. And since we learn and our whole life is conducted by language, then the very mechanism by which we learn and live and function both internally in terms of our self-talk as well as externally with the world is impaired in Ms. Wuornos. Again, can she read? Yes. Can she understand what she reads? Yes. Can she speak? Yes. Though her expressive abilities are far below her receptive abilities, further than most of us. All of us have our expressive abilities are a little bit lower than receptive. In other words, we understand more than we can say. But with her, it's greater than average. And it is certainly a split that is, if you will, pathognomonic. In other words, it's in and of itself. That split alone, if nothing else were operating, that split alone would tell you there's something wrong with the brain. By the same token, the kind of cortical dysfunction that she has is not, I'm not saying that there's anything structurally wrong with her brain. I want to get that real clear. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the structure of her brain. In other words, if she were to have an EEG or a CAT scan or an MRI, she would show up fine. Everything is structurally intact, but it's not functioning right. It's as if you had with your car, if your car were, you had all the parts to your motor there and everything is okay and it's complete, but you have sand in the gas line, let's say. Then you go to drive your car, it's going to sputter, it's going to maybe cut out on you, it may not start. You drive it a little ways and it'll stop and start and sputter. So it is that way with Ms. Wuornos' brain. It's structurally complete, as your car would be, your motor would be structurally complete, all the parts there, but it's not functional.
Oh, Ayana, thank you so much for that $10 Cash App on Friday. I got Missy on the wheel. I missed that on Friday, and I apologize. I wish I'd have done it on Friday because I had Missy literally on here watching that movie with me on Kick, but thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. You finished off a wheel for us, Ayana. Appreciate that. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're not stowed in. Which I don't think you would.
Right. And it's not functioning right because the various parts of the brain are not functioning in concert.
This problem...
It's a complicated thing, and I don't know if I'm putting it...
The cortical dysfunction problem that you're talking about, is that a physical problem?
It's a physical problem.
Or is that a matter of choice?
Oh, no, it's not a matter of choice. Nobody has any control over how their brain functions.
And the borderline personality disorder, is that a matter
I saw
of
it
choice? Is
afterwards.
that something that a 6-year-old wakes up and says, I want to be this way?
No.
I was excited.
Not only do we not have choices in terms of these sorts of things, but if we had choices, believe me, that's not something someone would wish to choose.
Why?
Because the individual is a very unhappy, I guess, discontented individual who cannot cope with the world, cannot figure out how to respond adaptively in the world to get their needs met. And it's like they go through life figuring out that they sort of have some sense that other people out there are doing it okay and they're not. But it's like they can't figure out how to do it okay, how to get their needs met in a way that is functional and adaptive and works. So it's like they can't get through the world in a way that works.
A person like Ms. Wuornos, is she mature?
No.
In what sense is she not mature?
No. Ms. Wuornos is probably one of the most primitive people I've seen outside of an institution. By that I mean that she functions at the level of very basic. By basic, I mean small child needs. We're talking about food and shelter and clothing and an attempt at some sense of security, an attempt at some sense of okayness and contentment that most people have figured out how to do and gotten beyond that so that they're more into things like making a living and contributing and mature interpersonal relationships. I mean, those are the things we begin to think about in adolescence. We're no longer at the level of basic trust and security needs. Those are things that we provide for infants and small children. That's the level at which Ms. Wuornos operates for that. Her whole lifestyle.
Did you talk to her about her stopping taking drugs?
Yes.
Did she give you any time period for that?
She said that about the age of 17.
Did she tell you anything about her drinking?
Yeah, that she stopped that when she was arrested.
Arrested on this case?
Yes.
Keep going, I'm sorry.
Her whole lifestyle is one of constantly being in a state of sort of living on the edge. It's a state of potential danger. It's a state of never being at the point of choosing good food, a good place to live, adequate rest, things that would be nourishing even just to her body, never mind her mind or her psyche or psychological life. It's at that level of always living right at the edge of getting physical needs met. When I first saw Ms. Wuornos let me put it this way. Ms. Wuornos today, though she is about 35, 40 pounds lighter, has lost about 35, 40 pounds from when I saw her the first time, looks immeasurably healthier in terms of her skin, her eyes, her hair, everything in terms of health. Looks immeasurably healthier right now than when I saw her a year ago, which was in February after she'd been arrested in January. At that point, there was that look of deprivation, of just somebody who's living a very disorganized life on the streets.
You indicated that these people have feelings of abandonment.
She's so happy because she's like, do you hear that? Huh? You hear that? 30 pounds lighter. Looking good up here.
People with borderline personality disorders. What is that? What sense do you have of that in Ms. Wuornos' case?
Well, she certainly was abandoned by both parents, and then, of course, raised by grandparents. There was given the verbal statements by her grandfather, there certainly is, that's not a person who's there for her emotionally. Although Ms. Wuornos states that her grandmother was this angelic individual, the very fact that she was afraid to tell anybody that she was pregnant for 6 months indicates to me that she didn't have a good, trusting, secure relationship with her caretakers. So we have no one that is there for her.
Oh shit, Ayana coming through the Cash App again, starting a new wheel for us. Put Jessica for Justice on the wheel with a $5 holler. Fuck yeah, Ayana, thank you, I appreciate that. Boom, we'll get Jessica on there. Jessica for Justice on the wheel. Boom, on a brand new wheel. Fuck yeah. Thank you so much, Ayana. I appreciate it. Oh, fuck. Forgot about the sound effects. We can show you some real love here. Yeah.
As a child. Otherwise, there would have been a
so
sense
much.
of trust and security.
Is her judgment that of a normal individual?
No, she shows very poor judgment.
Is her
On the
judgment
wheel.
impaired?
Started a
Yes.
brand new
How
wheel.
about her insight? Did she have the insight of a normal adult?
No.
Is her insight impaired?
Yes. To ask Ms. Wuornos to reflect for a moment, sit and reflect about the situation you're in. How did you get here? How do you think this happened? No idea, no clues. There's a lot of externalization, which is typical for borderlines. Everybody out here is responsible. There's no sense of themselves as the actor. They're always the reactor, and they're always reacting to everything that everybody else did. But they're never the ones, from their perception now, they're never the ones that are in control,
baby. We
making
got
the
them sound
decisions,
effects back.
acting, and therefore responsible. And therefore, when you ask them to reflect upon that, there's a total lack of insight, because they cannot put together, because I did A, I got to B. They can't do that.
Is that a
Mr.
function of the...
I need to change my glasses. Thank you.
Is that a function of the makeup, the psyche, the dysfunction in the brain of folks with cortical dysfunction, such as Ms. Wuornos and in borderline personality disorder, or is that a matter of choice?
No, it's not a matter of choice.
She doesn't choose to see the world the way she does.
Objection, Your Honor, leading, all subject to...
Withdraw.
Sorry.
How does she choose to see the world? Does she choose to see the world in any way?
Yeah, I don't, do any of us choose to see the world? We simply do. We don't have a choice about seeing the world. Now, how we see it, Ms. Wuornos sees it as very typical, again, of borderline personalities. It's malevolent, it's persecutory. She's a victim. Her paranoia is frequently sky high. It's an angry, unpleasant out to get her place. And that's partly what I meant by borderlines being extremely unhappy people. If we can sort of stop and think what it would be like for any of us to see the world as malevolent, as persecutory, as victimizing us, and that we are totally incompetent to deal with that. We may strike out at it periodically, but we're incompetent to deal with it. That's an extremely unpleasant place to be in day after day.
You talked a little bit about her dysfunctional family and some of the testing that was done for her in her schooling years.
Yes.
Do you recall a report of April 13th and 16th, 1970 in Ms. Wuornos' case? A school report?
Yes.
Do you recall whether that report reflected information such as what you're telling us today?
Yes, it did. There was the split. There was...
I'm going to read it first. Shelly Pokemon says, "Hey Steve, pick someone to put on the wheel from my last wheel win, tossing it forward." I'm going to put Ayana on there just for being fucking amazing, dude. She's been killing it. She's come through, I think, with my last 3 donations, and extremely generous donations at that. So yeah, I'm going to put Ayana on here, and that was for a shirt, Poke. I mean, so that's a pretty dope gift, but I will absolutely put her on there, and I think she deserves that. So yeah, go pick out another shirt. I've sent her one. I don't know if she sent a shirt. I've sent some goodies to her for sure, but either way, Ayana, get a shirt, publiclybuzz.com. Let me know what you want, and I'll get it to you. You deserve it. You deserve it. Sleuthy Sweetheart, I still owe you some stuff. I see here. I got to get that stuff out. With right now with the weather, it's been kind of shitty, and I was lazy before that, after Christmas or before Christmas even. So I apologize. The people I owe stuff to right now is Jay. He won some stuff. Sleuthy Sweetheart owes some stuff. Just a Crazy Jen I owe a shirt to, and Ayana I now owe a shirt to, thanks to the beautiful Pokemon. Boom. That's how we do it. Right there. Go pick yourself a shirt out. Publiclybuzz.com. Get you some. Get you some. Get you some.
There were several things. Seeing herself as uncomfortable in her role, in other words, in the female role. There was the extreme guilt, well, I think they characterized it as a very harsh superego, or I forget exactly how they put it. But it engendered a great deal of guilt in her and concerns for family, concerns for how her behavior affected other people.
Did it speak to her adjustment?
That had been going downhill since the beginning of junior high school.
You also described Ms. Wuornos as labile.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That's that their emotions are on a roller coaster. Very, very intense. Oftentimes sort of overwhelming them with their intensity. But it's the individual who in 5 to 10 minutes can cry and laugh and be angry and be happy and be sad and be all those things. I have not seen Ms. Wuornos since she's been here in the courtroom. During the times that I have been with her, I have watched her do this. I have watched her laugh and cry almost simultaneously, that rapidly, and go back and forth. And one can do that. You can, if you want to find out how fast it happens.
Sometimes it does take a minute, but I'll get them for sure.
You can stimulate that. You can make that happen. But it is in response to the external world. They don't have that core constancy that most of us have. So they're constantly, what I said a minute ago, they're reacting. They're not acting. They're reacting. Always reacting to the external world. Borderlines lack a core constancy that most of us have in terms of who we are, what we're all about. Most of us have that sense of ourselves, which borderlines don't have. A lot of character disorders don't have it, or personality disorders don't have it, but in particular borderlines don't.
Does she have cognitive impairments?
Yes.
What are cognitive impairments?
That's what I meant by language, by the split in the
Objection asked and answered.
split in the IQ test. She also, her memory function is variable, as one would expect with this kind of split, and that is things that are nonverbal. She remembers quite well. By that I mean geometric designs, faces, not as good, but okay, borderline. Borderline meant differently than borderline personality. Borderline score. But the things like geometric designs, she remembers certainly adequately. Events, what's called episodic memory, in other words, episodes, she can remember. But semantic memory, that is memory that relies on language and on concepts and manipulating words, I think her score was in the 23 percentile. And that's taking into account her age, which is not an issue here since she's 35, but her education, since that's 9th grade. It's matched against other people who are 35 and only have a 9th grade education, and she scores in the 23 percentile. That's obviously quite low, as compared, for instance, to her nonverbal memory for things like geometric designs, which is in the 61 or 64 percentile, somewhere around that area.
You had the opportunity to evaluate Ms. Wuornos' mental health functioning at the time of the Mallory test, did you not?
Yes.
And were you able to formulate any opinions in that regard?
In terms of her mental health functioning.
At the time of the Mallory test? Let me put it this way. Did she suffer from a borderline personality disorder at the time she was with Mr. Mallory?
Yes.
Did she suffer from cortical dysfunction at the time she was with Mr.
Your
Mallory?
Honor, can we allow
Yes.
the witness to testify in objection to you?
He's not as bad. Well, that's a good question. I know that he was still helping get Annabelle to work, and he wasn't as bad as I was. I know when I told him that I just got out on Thursday, he was like, holy shit, what? Like, I'm in a weird area. Like, I'm in a neighborhood that's... I have to go down to... I'm at the bottom of a neighborhood. Let's just say that. Like, above me is a neighborhood. Then I go down a hill, and then I'm back. I'm like one of the last houses in said turn inside bottom of neighborhood. Like, it sucks. Like, when the trucks come and scrape my road, like, they barely get into me. Like, this time they threw ice around my car, so I finally got that dug out. When I finally got to work, I took this giant fucking steel thing that had to break the ice up. Like, I'm talking chunks of ice, you can imagine, dude. Like, it's insane. I finally got a nook out to where I could get my car around the ice and figured it out. I used the neighbor's driveway to help me as well. Luckily, they had scraped their driveway or shoveled it. But now there's so much snow has fallen since Friday night. I'm talking about a foot of snow. And literally, I'm not joking when I say that. So it's a mess, dude. It's fucking shitty. I'm not it's not a holler. I'm in city limits, actually. Like, it's not. I've been in a holler, you know. But no, it's not a holler. We got a lot of hollers here, though.
Yes. Those are things that...
Dan is more in a holler, actually. Yeah. He's not in a holler, but it's more of a holler than what I'm in. He's not in city limits, but he's not in a holler either, technically. But he's more so like a holler. I mean, he's at the head of a holler. Let's say that. He's at the front of a holler.
From early childhood, basically until she dies. I mean, those are not things that are going to be changed. We don't know any way to change them at this point.
At the time that she was with Mr. Mallory, was her capacity...
Hollers, like, at least in the country and like West Virginia and this neck of the woods, it's like a nook almost, like going into the mountain or something like that. Usually there's it's usually real spacious, but also, you know, a holler will have a lot of people that are connected, whether that's neighbors or family back in that area. A lot of times the folks that live back in there have lived there their entire lives. They don't ever leave the holler for other than getting, you know, work or food and stuff like that. Like, they always go back to the holler. I've had friends that have lived in a holler. I've never lived technically in a holler. I've been more at the front of hollers. Dan right now lives basically at the front of a holler. Like, like, I wouldn't say he's in a holler, but he's right to where if you pull out from his house and you go right, you're going to be heading into a holler.
To conform her conduct to the requirements of the law substantially impaired?
In my clinical opinion, it was.
Why do you say that?
I remember there was a big debate on Jay's chat one day about what a holler was, and I was like, oh, I know what a holler is.
In my clinical opinion, Ms. Wuornos saw herself, correctly or incorrectly,
Usually poorer
saw
folks live in
herself
hollers.
as threatened, saw herself as in severe, imminent danger. Now, whether that was accurate, I don't know. Whether that was a distortion.
Yeah,
of
there's that's the technical way, right? Small secluded valley situated between two mountains, typically featuring a narrow road. And that's literally a holler. That's literally actually a holler. I just said what it is. She told you specifically what a holler is.
What's going on at that moment? I don't know. But in my clinical opinion, that is how she saw it. That would be compatible with the personality dysfunction, with her cortical dysfunction, personality disorder, with the cortical dysfunction, and with her account, which I have now heard 4 or 5 times.
Usually hollers are marked with a lot of no trespassing signs, and you want to keep your distance, especially around here, because in West Virginia, if you go on someone's property unwanted, they can shoot you, and I'm sure they would be fine.
Times, and which has been consistent all but one of those times, which has been consistent in its essentials. Because of that, because of all of those things put together, in my clinical opinion, she was not capable of conforming her conduct to the requirements of the law.
Could she distinguish right from wrong at the time?
Well, yeah, that's part of that. That gets to be a very complex question. Can she distinguish right from wrong? If you were...
Judge? Sir? May we approach?
All right.
Talked about her substantially impaired capacity to conform her conduct to the requirements of law. Even with that capacity, could she distinguish right from wrong in that?
I've got to qualify that. If you took Ms. Wuornos out of that situation and simply asked her in a moment of calmness or sitting on the beach, is it wrong to take somebody's life? She would tell you, yeah.
Now, the hollers, though, after that ice, we actually didn't have to go to work last Monday. Luckily, we've got, like, the owner right now is, like, super, like, he understands. He's younger, like, he's, you know, he's a really cool dude. And he actually let us take off last Monday because he's not even from here. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. And he realizes... because his family's from here, right? And that he was probably from here back in the day, whatever. But he realizes how bad it can get on these back roads around here. And man, like I'm in a city limit. Like I pay the city limit fee for trash pickup and all that, and road. Like, and they still can't get us cleaned up. I can't imagine the people on the mountains, inside of the mountains and in the hollers, because you're on your own. Like the city ain't sending trucks back there. Like they do their own shit.
At that moment, feeling threatened, the question of whether that was right or wrong becomes irrelevant, as it would with any one of us. It becomes irrelevant at the moment at which we're confronted with what, in my clinical opinion, Ms. Wuornos believed was a life-threatening situation. At that point, we don't stop, put everything on freeze hold, and try and figure out whether what we're about to do is legal, illegal, anything else. We simply react. She is going to react more quickly, with less thought than the average individual, given her impairments anyway. And if she's in a situation which she believes she is threatened, then she's going to react instantaneously. And the question of whether it's right or wrong isn't relevant. It's not whether or not she would decide it's right or wrong, it's that it's no longer relevant.
Was her capacity to appreciate the criminality of her conduct substantially impaired at the time she was with Mr. Mallory?
In my clinical opinion, it is. Again, Ms. Wuornos does not see that her behavior was anything other than that she was defending herself. The idea that in some fashion there is responsibility on her part in some part for that is not something that Ms. Wuornos can appreciate. She will say, I had no choice to be out there. That's what I do. This is the way I earn a living. I had to pay the bills. I had rent. I had electricity. I had food to pay. I had obligations the same as all of us have.
Morning, Deb.
This is what I do to
Where you at?
pay those
Are you snowed in
bills.
somewhere?
Therefore, this is what I was doing. This individual threatened me, and I acted.
She had the gun.
Yes.
She went into his car.
Yes.
She drank some alcohol with him.
Yes.
They pulled over.
Yes.
She killed him,
Yes.
and she took his stuff.
Yes, she did.
And nevertheless, you're telling us her capacity was substantially impaired.
In my clinical opinion, given everything that makes up Ms. Wuornos at that moment and today, yes.
How do you square those actions with her impairment?
First of all, I would say that the very fact that, given her lifestyle, shows poor judgment. It shows an inability to cope adequately in the world and with the world. It shows impulsivity. It shows very poor skills. So, just given the fact that she's out on the road hitchhiking and making her way in the world as a prostitute. Secondly, she's now in this situation, and as she perceives this individual, they are harming her, hurting her physically.
Right? That's
and
a good
threatening
question.
to hurt her worse in a
That's
few
a
minutes.
damn good question right
Wow.
there.
And she becomes very,
She's
very
clearly
frightened.
fucking amazing.
And then when she has the moment to free herself, or get herself physically free,
and the rest will follow.
sees no other way but to act in the manner in which she did, with different psychodynamics, with an intact brain that could operate differently, does operate differently, does not interact with her personality disorder. Might she have figured out a different way to get out of that situation, given that she was in it? Probably. But given her dynamics and given her history and given her view of the world and given her cortical dysfunction, in my clinical opinion, that was the only way that Ms. Wuornos perceived of getting out of the situation, of saving herself, in essence.
Had she had weapons on occasions prior to the killing of Mr. Mallory in her life?
Yes.
Had she ever shot anyone prior to being with Mr. Mallory,
Herself,
other than herself?
not to my knowledge.
Have you been able to formulate an opinion as to whether the emotional difficulties and disturbances we've been talking about affected Ms. Wuornos when she was with Mr. Mallory?
In my clinical opinion, they did.
At the time she was with Mr. Mallory, did she suffer from an extreme mental or emotional disturbance?
In my clinical opinion, she did then and does now.
The perceptions that you're talking about that Ms. Wuornos has, when formulating your opinion as to those perceptions, does it matter if Mr. Mallory did any of the things Ms. Wuornos said she did, that he did?
It matters to the extent that if he did none of them, and she is so firmly entrenched in her belief that he did,
Dude, AI's out of control, y'all.
then my clinical diagnosis would change, and I would say we're dealing with a psychotic individual.
What the fuck?
Now, what generally occurs with folks like
God,
this is
that's
that there
ridiculous.
is some truth. May not be all. What truth there is gets distorted, but there is truth. And then their perceptions of that as it interacts with their dynamics and their ability to keep using the word self-talk, to work things through in their head, as we all do, as we cognitively solve a problem and reach a solution. Her impairment
God,
in
seriously,
that area
like-
and her psychodynamics would make those distortions greater.
Yeah, she does sound
So in that sense,
like smart as fuck, like very
yeah,
modern.
it's important in the sense that if none of that happened, then I think we're dealing with somebody who's psychotic. And I don't think, my clinical perception of Ms. Wuornos is she's not psychotic.
What is psychotic, just to find that term for?
Basically out of touch with reality. Someone who's lives in a world that is different from the consensually valid world that most of us would agree upon and live in most of the time.
What if Mr. Mallory did nothing and she's just lying about it?
That is inconsistent with the test material and what we know about people who suffer from these impairments. I have observed the videotape. I have heard Ms. Wuornos tell me about these incidents in March.
That's crazy.
I
That's
found both of
insane.
those times to be somewhat confusing. I found it very difficult to follow her in March. I even asked her to draw me diagrams, and when she got through the diagrams, I couldn't follow them either. I found her thinking very loose, very non-sequential. I just had a very difficult time trying to interview her in March, and that's one of the reasons that I decided to let her sort of dry out, and I would come back and try it again in a few months. I did that, and in the meantime, I had access to some materials that she had written for her attorney. I read those, and Ms. Wuornos did not know that I had read them. I went and interviewed her, and she gave me an entirely different story, but a story that matched the account she had given to her attorney back in June. This was now in December. I have read two other accounts that she gave in January, and they essentially match. I'm not saying that it's verbatim. It's not. If it were verbatim, I'd be very concerned about it. But in essence, what she's saying is the same. There are details that are the same. There may be minor rearrangements of them, but there are details that are the same. In my clinical judgment, if Ms. Wuornos did not believe that it happened, I'm not saying whether it happened or didn't happen, but if she did not believe that it happened, she could not, with her memory impairment, give the same story 6 months later and then another month after that. And I did not hear what she said in court the other day, so I don't know what she said.
And you've reviewed accounts that she's given to other doctors, have you not?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I reviewed two others that she gave in January, both of those in January, plus her
Yeah, this has been one of the most
accounts to me in
interesting
December
parts of
and
the trial so
January,
far.
and the account that she had given earlier in June, which she did not know
Why
that I
wouldn't
had
she have
access,
testified
that I
during the
had read.
trial? Did they really keep her out?
Irrespective of her view of Mr. Mallory and the specific details, do all of the accounts have a common theme that she perceived herself to be threatened?
Yes, and that includes back in March and in February when I first saw her, and at least my perceptions of the taped confession, all of those times, that's consistent, that she is saying, I acted in self-defense.
While Ms. Wuornos was hitchhiking, making her living as a prostitute, had she been abused on the road?
Yes, according to her, she had. Now, keep in mind, there are two separate times she made her primary living as a prostitute. One was from the ages of 15 to 20, During that time, she spoke of having been gang raped when she was either 17 or 18. Stated that she had willingly gone to a party, had willingly ingested some alcohol, but not willingly been tied to bed and raped. She had then not from the ages of 20 to 28, she did other kinds of work and did not work primarily as a prostitute, though she prostituted some of the time. From 28 until she was
Hello,
arrested,
Austin.
she was primarily
Morning.
a prostitute.
Hope you're doing good. Did you get some of this craziness
During that
in,
time, she
in South
related
Carolina?
basically 5 instances which she terms rape. 2 of them are with individuals that did not have a weapon, did not threaten her in any way, did not hurt her in any way, according to what she told me. She terms it rape because, and this took me a while to figure out with Ms. Wuornos, when I first asked her to define rape, one of the ways that she defined it was that somebody hurts or does something against your will or injures you in some way. The other thing is that they have sex and don't pay you. Now, what I later realized was that Ms. Wuornos has a consistent way of functioning with her clients, and that is that they must pay her first. So if she's saying they had sex without paying me, it's because they didn't pay her. She refused and said, I'm not going to have sex with you. And they insisted and in some way forced her to anyway. So the having sex without paying means that it was against her will because the fact they hadn't paid her, she was saying, no, I won't do this. These 2 individuals, she said, she just got angry and verbalized, yelled at them in some abusive manner, verbally abusive manner, but didn't do anything. Said she had a gun with her, but did not use it because they had not hurt her in any way. She sort of felt sorry for them, and she just was verbally abusive and let them go on their way. The other 3 times she related to me twice that, and according to the notes is related to other people, that she had in one case, I think it was tear gas, in one case mace, and in one case something else, something equivalent to that. In each of those cases that was taken away from her and in essence used against her in some way, and one time a shotgun was held out on her. The other times the individuals had a weapon, but I can't remember, I'm sorry what that was, I'd have to look at my notes. But at any rate, that she was forced to have sex, and that she was very frightened and begged for her life.
Sex.
She related that those 2 instances that occurred in the late 80s, I think 88 and 89, and then those 3 instances where she was scared and begging for her life, and the other 2 instances that occurred within the 6 months before Mr. Mallory.
Ms. Wuornos' perceptions of the world and people around her, are those a product of the dysfunctions and impairments you've been speaking about?
And her early life, everything. I mean, we are a product of every day that's gone before us, and, you know, our psychodynamics and our cognitive abilities to cope. So all of those.
You talked about some of the projective tests that you gave Ms. Wuornos.
Yes.
Let me show something to opposing counsel, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Show it to the doctor after. Doctor, let me show you a document that's been marked as Defense Exhibit C for identification, and let me ask you to just take a look at that and tell us what that is.
That is the last picture that Ms. Wuornos drew during the time that I asked. It's a group of pictures called their projected drawings. I asked a person to draw a house, a tree, a person of the opposite sex. Kinetic family drawing, meaning draw me a picture of what was typical for you in your home when you were growing up. Your most unpleasant concept, your most pleasant concept, and then anything you like. This is what she drew when we got to anything you like.
And she drew that as part of your testing?
Yes.
That was in response to just draw whatever you want to draw?
Whatever you like, yes.
If I may publish, move the exhibit into evidence and publish it.
Objection, Your Honor, if you're relevant. Judge, will you take a look at it
Interesting,
and
Jim.
see that there is no relevance to it, other than it was to try to court sympathy.
God. Somebody's breathing into the microphone.
We're moving it at this time, Your Honor.
That's annoying.
Did you rely on those projected test results in formulating your opinion, Doctor?
Yeah.
That they received and marked out by a proper number of defendants.
Thank you, Your Honor. If I may publish the item to the jury, Judge.
Shit, Austin coming through. Boom. That's a $10 bill coming through the YouTube here. Austin, thank you so much. Love y'all. Passing the snow plate. Thank you. Nice. We do have a new will that is currently active. And you're going to get, I think, the second spot on that son of a bitch. Thank you so much, Austin. Appreciate that. Boom. Let me get you on here. Nice. Nice. Before we leave, actually, I'm probably going to go ahead and get the wheel ready, play this for a second, and we'll be taking off here in just a minute. But we'll do a spin right now. We'll start everybody's day with a nice spin. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Boom. Boom. I'm going to give you one of these just because I like it. I like the clip. Boom. Hold on. Let me get the wheel here.
While the jury is looking at the item, what did the projective test tell you about Ms. Wuornos?
They told me that I was dealing with an individual who was not psychotic, who wasn't in touch with reality.
I'm sorry, who was?
Was not psychotic, who was in touch with reality. Who deals at the level of very primitive basic needs, who has a potential for better interpersonal relationships, but whose perceptions of people are very distantiated. By that I mean, she wants to distance people away. They're in the forms of angels, wizards, ghosts. In other words, they're distantiated. They're not human people. Most of which are malevolent. That her affect is overwhelms her cognition oftentimes. By that I mean that when she gets emotionally aroused, her ability to make good judgments goes out the window. That she sees the world as extremely conflictual, and again, malevolent, with things that, again, evil spirits, ghosts, things that are beyond our face-to-face control, beyond our ability to...
Welcome in here. Cammy, I think, is in California. I bet she doesn't have any snow or ice. But I don't know. It's been hitting some weird places. But boom, Just a Crazy Jen, $5. Thank you, Pastor and Congregation. I got you on there also. Hell yes. That's what I like to see, folks. Thank you all so much. Boom, coming in today hot. It was a good morning. And through the Cash App, boom, Tiff Knox coming through and says, "Will me," $5. And we're going to spin one right now as we continue to grow another. Nice. We got a good start on that second one too. But thank you so much, Tiff. Let me see. Let me hit you with the money one. Let me hit you with this one. Ted DiBiase's theme music.
Hold up! Hold up! Hold up!
Let me get this wheel over here. Let me get this wheel over here. Hold on. Thanks everyone for coming through. I appreciate her. Not done today. We still have a lot of really cool stuff happening today. Of course. we've still got a video, a brand new video, Wrestle Plunge, 4:45 Eastern today. Brand new video over there. If you guys go and show that some love, you get on what? Secret Will. And on that secret will is for what? A free t-shirt. The only way to get on that will is to show some love to that video over on Wrestle Plunge. If Pokemon, if you wouldn't mind to post the link for that channel into the chat. About every 2 to 3 weeks, I drop a brand new video on there, and you can get on the secret wheel for a possible free t-shirt by just leaving a comment and leaving a like. And if you have the ability to leave height, please do that as well. And if you feel so enticed to share it, even to a friend, that would be amazing. That would help it out as well. We try to get into the algorithm, and it's helped out tremendously here at Wrestle Plunge through Publicly Buzzed and the Buzz Nation. So I appreciate the hell out of that. So 4:45 Eastern, go check that video out. Get on the secret wheel. 6 Eastern tonight, we'll be live on Twitch and YouTube through Wrestle Plunge, watching the last episode of the promotion that we're watching from 1990, and then we'll be finding a brand new year and a brand new promotion somewhere in the country to watch every Sunday again, and we'll do it all over again. So, and then of course Tuesday I'll be back live here on Publicly Buzzed for 2 shows. We'll be doing the Tuesday night body cam show, and then we'll be doing the book club. Of course, all members here are invited, and that's the only way to truly get in. But first, let's spin this wheel here. Good luck, everybody that came through and donated to this wheel. See who's going to win some goodies. I know I've got some, we'll see what I've got to give away here. I got a lot of stuff at work here. Just a crazy Jen picking up the win. She just came through, donated $5, and picked up a victory right here to close out the show this morning. And I'm going to get you on here before I forget about it. Thank you so much, Jen, for all your support. I think she might be the only remaining Jen from the Jen Nation in the chat. She's a continuing Jen. OG Jen coming through here. The beautiful Jen. Just a crazy Jen. Boom. Winning the good stuff. See, I'm going to try to get all that stuff moving again. Get everybody that deserves and has made victories in the past their loot. So hell yeah. Oh yeah, there it is. Link right there. Thank you, Pokemon. I appreciate that. I know Austin is a member over on Wrestle Plunge. The one cool thing there, if you're a member on Wrestle Plunge, you get early access to the video. That video that drops today for everybody else has been out since last Sunday, maybe Monday, last Sunday or Monday. So it's been out for basically a week for free. But if I don't finish the video at least by Friday, I'll say that. But I like to do it on Thursday. If I don't finish a video by Thursday, I'll post it for members, but I don't like to do it for the public because I've learned one thing, and I think it's actually true within posting content, at least videos through YouTube, is it's good to post a video and even leave it unlisted, even if you don't do members, just to let the video kind of, it's almost like YouTube is reading the metadata, and it's going to figure out where to send that, and hopefully to the correct people, and that's also how Buzz Nation helps me out, so. All right, I've been plugging it all. Book club, get in there. You don't want to miss that. We'll be starting a brand new book after Mindhunter, which is absolutely insane. Mindhunter is crazy. And she's 4 months. Okay, she's been here for a hell of a lot more than 4 months. So, long-ass time from Austin Reigns. OG, I would even say, as we're getting ready to go into our 4th year of Publicly Buzzed, which is crazy. Absolutely insane. That's right, Jessica and Jennifer taking over. Hold on, let me get this out of here. We can see what people are saying here. Now, Pokemon, all shows, we're not finished yet. She said, you know what? I'm not done just yet. You gotta fight for your right. Holy shit. Getting us deeper into the wheel that we just started up this morning. Damn, Shelly, I appreciate the hell out of that. Membered up. Who'd you get? Jessica for Justice back in. Long-time member. I know Jessica's went off and on with this here. Not off and on, but as being a member. And she is getting gifted back up by the beautiful Pokemon. I appreciate the shit out of that. Thank you so much. Yeah, Jessica's an OG. Jessica hangs out with us. Jessica's a member here often on the channel. And I think we might have shocked her just a little bit with Friday's movie. Visually, it's shocking. The words they say, yes, they're shocking, but it's a comedy. It's a funny movie. We all just got to lighten up. It's all crazy. It's all good. And yeah, I've got a lot of sound bites here. You know who's awesome?
Dan's a fantastic
Dan's a fantastic man. Dan's a good guy. You know, we love old Dan. Dan's a good dude.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
All right, I'm done. Let's get the hell out of here. Have a great Sunday. Keep an eye out on Wrestle Plunge. I'll be back live at 6 tonight. And yeah, we'll do it again. See you Tuesday. Otherwise, boom.
This hurts.